So now Carly Fiorina is out of the Republican presidential race. She finished 7th last night in New Hampshire behind New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who also suspended his presidential campaign this afternoon. Republican Donald Trump and Democrat Bernie Sanders both got their first primary wins in New Hampshire. Now the focus is now here on the South and the so-called SEC primaries.
And politics where the stakes are high, but it can be enjoyable too as an observer. And Channel 2's John Pruitt has covered 5 New Hampshire primaries from 76 to 92. Glad you're with us this evening, John.
Thank you.
Wow. Iowa and then New Hampshire. This gets more interesting by the day. So let's start on the Democratic side, John. I want to ask you about this Bernie Sanders movement, really. He wins in New Hampshire, but he's from Vermont. Does his message work in the South?
Well, even though he is from Vermont, the margin was huge, to use Bernie's terms. But yeah, the question is, can he make this play in the conservative South? Actually, he'll be on a Democratic primary. The big question there is African-American voters. Can he sell his message to them? And there's an argument that why not? He's going to be trying to convince them a single-payer health care system is going to work for them, wage inequality, addressing that, attacking wealth on Wall Street. He's going to try to appeal to the blacks, but the thing is, he's just beginning this courtship. Hillary Clinton has a decades-long bond with the African-American community, so she'll be trying to retain that. The unquantifiable thing to me is the movement aspect of what Bernie Sanders is doing. The young people who come in to his rallies, this electricity in the air, this movement, as he calls it. Will this come into play in the Democratic primaries in the South? I don't know.
And you said quickly, John, that you think it might actually move Hillary further left.
Well, there's no question but that Bernie Sanders remaining in the primary pulls her further to the left. He's already done it. And that could be problematic in the general election.
So Donald Trump also swept New Hampshire last night. Who do you think is the biggest threat to him? Ohio's governor or Ted Cruz, who won in Iowa?
There's no question that Kasich had a great night. He did what he had to do, but he's a moderate, and it remains to be seen if he can carry that into the South, which is conservative, of course, and still do well. We'll see. Cruz, I think, is obviously Trump's primary opposition. Cruz finished 3rd, spending less than $1 million in New Hampshire, millions less than people who finished behind him. And he's coming into a region where evangelicals are strong. It's a very conservative region. There's no reason Cruz should not do very well. Got a great ground game. I think he and Trump will be jockeying, and I think we can see sparks fly. The big question is who's going to occupy that so-called establishment lane. We thought it might be Rubio. He faltered in New Hampshire. We have Kasich on the rise, but is he too moderate to play in the South? And then Jeb Bush sort of resurrected himself. He comes to South Carolina, which has always been good to the Bush family. We'll see. And we'll just have to wait and watch it.
All right, SEC Day, March 1st.
It is astounding where we have in one party what's being called a disruptor, Donald Trump, and in the other party, a self-described socialist. I've never imagined anything like this.
Well, it's a primary system, you know. It does emphasize the wings of each party, and that becomes a problem, of course, in the general election when everybody has to run back to the middle.
Running back
where
to the
most
middle.
of the people are.